Hello. So yesterday, Ryan and I were chatting about the impending closing costs that we are going to have to pay at the end of August. And there's an additional cost in there that I didn't know about, and it's fairly significant. So we're trying to figure out how we're going to cover this because we have to come up with the cash for it. We can't put it on a line of credit or something like that. And we just have to be really careful to make sure that we're not putting ourselves in a bad position financially in order to cover this cash cost. And so we were chatting about expenses that we might be able to cut or reduce or something like that. And Ryan has been thinking about his phone bill for a few months, and whether he really needs the plan that he was on. And so last night in the discussion about the expenses, he looked it up. He looked at the different plans the current carrier that we're with has, and he compared his current plan to the actual data that he uses every month and the number of minutes that he uses, and just so that he could see if there was any additional capacity that, like, he's paying for additional data and minutes and stuff like that he doesn't really need. And turns out that that was a huge difference there. There was a huge difference. So he looked at the other plans that this carrier has and decided to switch to a much smaller plan, and that saves him $25 every month. And so when he was doing that, I was like, okay, well, that's great for you, but like, I use my phone way more for business, and like I'm out and about way more. Like I leave the house, so I need more data. I need more minutes because I call clients, and so I was like, that's not going to work for me. And I didn't even look. But today, I can't remember how it came up today, but I was thinking, I wonder if that's the case. Like I made an assumption to say that, oh, well, like I use my phone like to the maximum of the plan, so like I can't possibly reduce my plan. But then I looked, and the data that I have been using is well below the amount that I get every month. It's more than the plan that Ryan has now. So if I was going to switch to that plan, I'd have to be really careful that I'm not going over. But you know, there's add-ons that you can get or whatever. So we sort of looked at the plan and said, okay, is it worth it for me to go down to the lowest plan? I would have to buy an add-on for minutes. So I think it's like $5 for 500 minutes or something like that. But those don't expire. So it wouldn't even be $5 a month. And yes, I call out, but there's unlimited in-calling, so maybe I just have people call me more often. And the data piece is really just a good excuse for me to stop being on my phone when I'm out of the house. So win-win. So I have done the same thing. I've decided to reduce my plan, even though I don't quite fit within those bounds. It is still going to be a lot less expensive than paying for the capacity on my phone that I don't actually need. And I wouldn't be able to make those decisions if I didn't have the data literally. But in looking at prior usage, like my data usage in the minutes and stuff like that, I was able to say that yes, it's going to be a bit of a stretch, but it's worth it for me to be able to save that $25 every month. And this is super important for all of the decisions that we're making, that sometimes, or a lot of times, we come to a decision, or maybe it's something that we hadn't thought of, but we think like, I can't possibly, and we don't even look. We don't even look at our prior usage or our prior expenses or the prior data that we need to be able to understand what we're going to do going forward. It feels like we use the full capacitor. It feels like we need everything that we're paying for, but maybe we don't. So I encourage you to have a look at the expenses that you have regularly, and like your recurring expenses, like your monthly expenses, and just see, are you paying for anything within those expenses that maybe you don't need to be? Like maybe you could have a smaller phone plan. Maybe if you're paying for internet and cable and all that stuff that comes from the internet people, maybe you don't need as many channels. Like maybe there's a bunch of channels that you're not even watching, so you can get rid of them. Or maybe you don't need as fast of internet. I know that's maybe a tough one, but maybe you don't. Maybe that's something that you can live without. And I think too, like for me in this phone thing, I'm not sure that it's going to be right for me because I think I might go over in a few cases, so maybe it'll end up being more expensive. But the plan that I left isn't going anywhere. It wasn't a promotional plan, so to me it's worth it to try and to see and to monitor and to try and save that $25 a month than to just keep paying for extra capacity without even really thinking about it. So that's an option too. If you're not on a promotional plan, or even if you are, it might be worth it to just try out that smaller plan and just see if it fits for you, because if it does, then you could save yourself some money. And even if it doesn't, maybe there's a way to work around it, like buying the extra minutes or something like that. And yeah, maybe you can save some money every month by doing that. So let me know in the comments if you have done this before and you were successful. Even if you weren't, I'd love to hear your story. Or if you plan to do it in the future, let me know. Let me know what expenses you were able to reduce. I'd love to hear about it. Maybe it'll give me some ideas as to ones that I can look at. If you're looking for accounting, tax, and tips and accounting and tax tips and bookkeeping tips and that sort of thing, maybe just general business sometimes, sign up for my free newsletter. I've put the link in the description. I hope you're doing well. Happy Friday. I'll see you tomorrow.